And great description by my good friend John Phippen there, who joins us once again for the Formula Regional Americas race.
The safety car has pulled in, so we're going to line them up, as apparently Nick Persing has been able to get that car refired. And they'll line up here on the front straightaway. Again, we use a Formula One style standing start. You can see a couple marshals there in the first two grid positions to align the front two drivers, Josh Carr and Ernie Francis Jr. In this case, Josh on the inside of the track there because the first turn is a right-hander.
I'm looking forward to this because Josh Carr knows what he's doing in an FR car. Ernie is getting better and better and knows this track better than anybody.
Exactly right. And Ernie obviously will be looking forward to a good race here because he's coming off a win.
That's Arias Deukmedjian in the pit lane there, just
yep,
in front of our commentary booth. Away we go.
The rev's coming up, 4 lights, now 5, and we're away. Ernie Francis gets a good jump.
What a start from Ernie Francis Jr. straight into the lead, and I don't think that, well, Josh Carr's going to try around the outside, but I don't think there's anybody stopping Ernie into turn 1.
Ryan Yardley also got a great start. He is right there in 3rd spot as they work their way through the horseshoe for the first time. But Ernie Francis Jr. getting the jump on Josh Carr as they work their way into NASCAR for the first time.
I really want to see, after the disappointment of his Trans Am run, Ernie give us his best shot here because this is his penultimate round of the series, and if he could win a couple more races, wow, what that would do for his career and potentially his future.
Yeah, absolutely right. Ernie was very effusive in his praise of the team on the podium yesterday because he qualified in 8th position in yesterday's race and came through to take the win, and he said the car was just dialed in. He says as good as it's ever been under his hands. So that's a great start for Ernie Francis, and it looks like they've carried that over into this afternoon's race as well. Josh Carr, Ryan Yardley right there, Kyffin Simpson in the 4th spot as they negotiate the Oak Tree Bend and begin the long run down the back straightaway. Someone slowing here. I can't tell from this angle the number of that car, but someone definitely off the pace.
Yeah, definitely slowing right down, and either they'll try to sort of tiptoe back to the pits, or just it'll pull off onto the grass and try and put itself into a safe spot.
Yeah, exactly. There are some orange cutouts on the guardrail around the track where the drivers are encouraged to put the car if they can so that we can avoid having to bring out a safety car to tow a car out of harm's way. But Ernie Francis Jr. is going to lead this lap comfortably over Joshua Carr.
Yeah, that flying lap, a 1:49.061 by Ernie. That's pretty quick from a standing start.
Absolutely. Josh Carr just about the same pace of 49.3, but Francis Jr. holding the early fastest lap of the race. Josh, Ryan Yardley looking racy. He's going to try to have a little bit of a go on Josh Carr. The New Zealander and the Aussie. Probably no love lost between them.
Well, and as you know, Ryan Yardley's raced in Australia, the great rivalry there, and I love the fact that it's America, Australia, and New Zealand all in the way we should have Formula Regional, just what we wanted.
And a Grand Caymaner in 4th spot,
yeah.
So not all bad. 4 different nationalities in the top 4 positions.
And we could be looking at our first Grand Cayman's champion.
Absolutely.
Single-seaters,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I think
Stick my neck out there.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. Good shot of Ryan Yardley. Kyffin Simpson keeping the pressure on. Kyffin has really impressed me this weekend. He hasn't had a win in a while. He won 5 of the first 6 races, and he has been, you know, a long run of podium finishes, but he realizes what a commanding points lead he has coming into these final 2 rounds of the season, and he's been very intelligent with his racecraft. He's not put his nose in anywhere it doesn't belong,
sure.
And he's taken what the race has given him, realizing that as long as he doesn't make a big mistake, he's pretty much got the championship in hand. Yeah,
and Kyffin Simpson came onto my radar a couple of years ago when he did the Florida Winter Series, the
yep.
Academy, and really he had a brilliant run there, and everybody said, watch out for this kid, and of course here he is, and the truth has come out.
Yeah, it's true. He has certainly put this paddock on notice that he is going to be a factor to be reckoned with, like I say, being so dominant in the first 2 rounds of racing. As we see the single file parade down into the horseshoe right now, nobody making any moves at this early stage. These races 35 minutes long, so we've got plenty of time left for this one to evolve. the other thing is the final race of the weekend, there's always an issue about tire management. They only have 2 sets of Hankook slicks to use for the entire weekend, starting in the qualifying session on Friday all the way through the 3 races that they have to contest. And so they can use those 2 sets however they wish, but basically everybody's on kind of marginal tires at this point. They've got some used rubber under them, and these Hankook tires have good staying power, but obviously they do lose a little grip as they get older. So that's going to be a factor. Who has looked after their tires all weekend long to have something under them for this final race of the day?
You know, and here's a bit of trivia for you, but the top 6 all within 1/10 of a second each other on that last lap, and 7th place Jordan Missig, faster than any in the top 6. That's how competitive this race is, when the guy in 7th place is running quicker than the top 6, and nothing is between the top 6.
Well, you can see the majority of the field right here, and no one is getting away. I mean, they are all line astern, you know, within 1/2 a second of each other, 2/10 of a second in one case. So, you know, these cars are absolutely identical. They are very evenly matched. There's no, one of the hallmarks of this series and the F4 series as well is that the cars are very rigidly maintained so that no one can throw a lot of money at one of these cars and go faster. You can't bolt on, you know, unobtainium special suspension pieces to make your version a little quicker than the competition's. Everybody has the same platform to work on. So it's really down to the skill of the engineers and, of course, the skill of the driver. The engineer to dial the car into its maximum potential, and the driver to extract the most from it. Down into the horseshoe once again. There's the 14 car of Dylan Tavella, currently running in 6th spot. He's the teammate of Joshua Carr from the Crosslink competition stable. Dylan, a winner already this year at Road America, and finished on the podium in the first race here this weekend in 2nd position. So looking for a good result here in this final race. You kind of get the feeling that, especially at the front, they're kind of feeling one another out right now, and it's kind of a waiting game with 30 minutes left to go. They're waiting to see how the track is going to evolve and how the tire wear is going to evolve. As Tavella having to be a little defensive with Logan Cusson right on his rear wing. So Tavella in 6th, Logan Cusson in the 99 car right behind him. Jordan Missig, I believe, has dropped back 1 spot. There's Missig in the 48, and I believe he's now running back in 8th position. Cusson has gotten around him, and Cusson makes a dive into Oak Tree. That was a close one, but Tavella gave him enough racing room so that they didn't come together.
I agree with you. I think I just looked at the times again, high 46s in that last lap, so they've upped the pace from the 47s they were on before, but everybody is line astern and doing the same pace, but nobody, you can see that there's no out of control movements, and it's just one of those races where they haven't pulled the pin just yet.
Yeah, exactly right. Arias Deukmedjian, who had to start from the pit lane, has worked his way up to 10th, so he's in the points, and he just set fast lap of the race. Deukmedjian started this season racing with us in the F4 U.S. Championship, but has moved over to take over the car of Hunter Yaney from the Velocity Racing Development Stable. So he's in Hunter Yaney's number 11 car for this round, and I don't know if we'll see him at COTA or not, but Arias doing a great job taking the step up to the much more capable car. There is a shot of Arias in the number 11. Oh. Big lockup as he's a little over exuberant coming into the horseshoe, but he got it sorted before he had to make the turn in. He's probably going to have a little vibration in that steering wheel the rest of the way, as he's got a nice flat spot on that Hankook slick.
Blisters on his hands when he gets out.
Exactly right. Ernie Francis beginning to stretch it a little bit now. It was just about 3/10 of a second at the line. As Josh Carr having a little trouble keeping up. This may be the battle to watch. The 19 of Varun Choksey right on the back of his teammate, Kyffin Simpson. Now again, team orders in play here. Varun not in the championship fight. He is currently 5th in the championship, but it's out of reach for him to surpass his teammate. But he still is only a single point behind Ernie Francis Jr., and he could move up a spot in the standings. The top 7 drivers all earn super license points against their potentially eventual Formula One race license. But
yeah, just to explain something, and I think to put the context of what we're saying about the Honda Championship, is you can earn, if you win the championship, you can earn 18 super license points.
Yep.
If you win the Super Formula, then you can get 25 points. points.
Yep.
And if you do that back-to-back seasons, pretty much, you've got over enough, 43, to be able to go into Formula One. You are then eligible to race in Formula One. That's how close these guys are to the big time.
You can earn a Formula One license, absolutely. That doesn't mean that it's automatic by any stretch of the imagination, but you have made up all of the FIA qualifications to sit in a Formula One car on a Friday practice or whatever the case might be.
And there's not many drivers out there, and it's a handful, I really mean that, outside of those who've already got a job in Formula One.
Yep.
Yeah, we're talking about 20 or 30 drivers maybe eligible in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Ernie Francis beginning to stretch it away just ever so slightly, eking out a little more advantage with each passing lap. As Deukmedjian, I believe, or that might be Nick Persing, I didn't see just as he flashed out on my screen. Nick Persing also in the Velocity colors in that 29 car.
Kyffin Simpson put in his quickest lap last time out in 4th place. That's the 11th back on track and Kyffin going.
Yeah, so that must be the 29 of Nick Persing, who is about to be put a lap down by the field. He's the one who spun on the formation lap. Baptiste Berthelot right behind Jordan Missig. Berthelot, the Frenchman, running in 9th right now. Missig in 8th spot. Just hasn't been able to recover that magic that he had in the first race of the weekend, where he got a dynamite start away from the line and was able to just stretch his advantage up to almost 7 seconds at one point. It would look like a real cakewalk, and for whatever reason, he hasn't been able to recapture that magic in the other 2 races. He did come home well inside the points on the podium, as a matter of fact, in race number 2, but right now Jordan finds himself back in 8th.
This is a fascinating race. Ernie starting to pull the wick a bit. He just did a 46.2, and everybody else pretty much the same pace, but he's just bit by bit eking out of time. Ryan Yardley's putting a lot of pressure on Josh Carr at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And right behind Yardley is Kyffin Simpson, the points leader, with Varun Choksey joining that battle. As those 3 cars for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th really running the closest together right now. It's about 0.4 of a second back to Choksey at the line.
Simpson having a look.
Yep. Logan Cusson running right behind Choksey, just set fast lap of the race. So the fastest lap of the race has been a lot of different drivers here so far.
Yeah, you always expect the leaders to set the fastest lap. Not always the case here.
Yep.
That's how close it is.
Yeah, exactly right. And we're talking about just a few tenths making the difference. Everybody's lapping in the mid-146s right now.
Well, and it also proves why we talked about how the rarefied air. Oh no! Off goes Ryan Yardley. A rare mistake, the first mistake of the weekend for the 78 Kiwi. Well, they say Kiwis can't fly. They just did.
Yep, and he's going to drop all the way back behind. Actually, he's going to get around in front of Baptiste Berthelot, who he forced a little bit wide there as Yardley.
Unintentionally, but
yep.
It is what it is.
Yeah, so that'll drop him into 8th position right now is Yardley, and that'll move Simpson up to a podium spot.
Yeah, that's important, and Josh Carr knows that too. That's the last thing Josh needed, was the pressure of Simpson behind him. Having 1 car between them was nice for Josh Carr, but now he's got the champion-elect right behind him.
Yep. And as we said, if the champion-elect is able to get around Josh and finish in 2nd spot, the championship is over. It's been clinched.
So up to you, Josh. You want to keep running. Tavella's in, and the back of the engine is off.
Yeah, they're having a look at the suspension. They're not looking at the power plant so much, but at the gearbox or the suspension. These cars all run a Sadev sequential shift gearbox, 6-speed gearbox, paddle shifters, of course. And they're looking in that area.
Let's take a look at that little bit of action, yeah. And here it is. Ryan Yardley coming out of 10, just gets a wiggle on, but by then it's too late. And that's all it takes, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking to Jordan. He was saying that on fresh tires, these climbing S's are absolutely flat. They can just, mat the throttle, and he says you feel like a superstar driving a Formula One car, making it through the climbing S's. But as the tires get a little age on them, they don't have quite the same peak grip, and that might have caught Ryan Yardley out just a tad there. Good battle for
really
5th.
good.
Logan Cusson, Jordan Missig, Ryan Yardley recovering. As we can see, the 19 car of Varun Choksey in 4th. Right behind him, Logan Cusson, and then Jordan Missig. So a good 3-way battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th as the top 3 stretching it out just
tires.
a bit.
I've just heard an off.
Yep. That was Baptiste Berthelot as he went around there at Oak Tree. But no harm, no foul. He'll catch up to the back of the pack.
Well, this has got plenty of drama, and there's plenty more to come. So Josh Carr trying to keep the championship alive, holding off Simpson. Meanwhile, Ernie Francis Jr. looking for back-to-back wins, which would be incredible in a man who's basically racing in another championship. In fact, he's raced in 2 complete championships this year, none of them to do with single-seaters. This is his first time in single-seaters as a rookie and as a future racing star. Being helped by Al Unser Jr., not a bad guy to help you out. 2-time Indy 500 winner and multiple champion in Indy and race winner, and of course a member of that multifaceted Unser family.
Another shot of Dylan Tavella's car. They've got the engine cover back on the car, but don't seem to be any hurry to send him back out. I have a feeling their race has been run. Ernie Francis Jr. just set a personal best at a 45.9. The time's beginning to get a little quicker. You would think, well, the cars ought to slow down as they continue in the race. Actually, the weight of the fuel is a significant percentage of the weight of the car. So as they burn the fuel off, the cars get a little lighter and a little more nimble. It's not at all uncommon to see the fastest laps turned at the end of the race. Just the way you see it in the same Formula One, same thing. Yeah. Even though we don't do tire changes in this race.
No, but lighter fuel and obviously, getting bedded in, you also get more confidence as you get into the zone, and it's a combination, really, isn't it?
It looked like we had a car going just a little bit wide there. The second place runner of Josh Carr, they're coming up to lap, I believe that would be Nick Persing that they're coming up behind. You can see him well out in front, but looks like they're going to catch up to him.
Fastest lap of the race so far, Ernie Francis Jr., 45.9, so dipping into the 45s. Pretty impressive.
Mateus Solero Bell holds the race lap record set here 2 years ago at a 144.015. We haven't seen anybody challenge that just yet. As we concentrate on Logan Cusson, currently running in the 5th spot. Varun Choksey out in front. Those 2 teammates from the TJ Speed stable.
Yeah, it's been a good first season for TJ Motorsport.
Yeah, absolutely. They came in and this is their first season as a team. They're a bit of a juggernaut, actually, with 4 cars in the championship, and have done extraordinarily well as they've got the man at the top of the points, and Varun and Logan are currently 5th and 6th in the points as they won right now. So that's been a great effort for Tim Neff and the TJ Speed crew. Yeah, Ernie Francis continuing to stretch his lead. It's up over a second now, as Josh Carr and Kyffin Simpson duking it out for 2nd and 3rd.
This is where Ernie's got to be careful. He's got to dispense with the traffic, but why am I saying that? He races Trans Am. He knows what to do.
Yeah, he's usually so far out in front, he's used to lapping back markers in a Trans Am car, no question.
No kidding.
Yeah, he's had such a snake bit season in Trans Am this year. He's had the pace at every round, as he always has. And, he can't be a 7-time champion without being fast enough.
Somebody's again going slowly. Same spot.
Yeah, that could be Nick Persing letting the field by.
I see. Yeah.
Just a question. Not sure.
It looked like a
VRD car. Yeah, has the very characteristic gray livery of the VRD machines. There's Ernie by himself, so I think that's exactly the case. I think Nick may have just backed off, knowing that he was already a lap down to let the field go by, or that he was going a lap down to let the field go by. Ernie is in cruise control mode here.
Yeah.
I think he's got that car exactly where he wants it. The team has given him a good race car, and everybody else is going to have to pick up what's left, as Josh Carr and Kyffin Simpson still run close together, and then a bit of a gap now, back about a second or so. Simpson having a little sniff as they head into the horseshoe, thinking about trying to get that outside line, which then would be the inside line for NASCAR. But Josh Carr doing a good job of making that car just as wide as he can.
Simpson wants it bad, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He is just really trying to go for it. I think he feels he's got a little advantage here.
Yeah, he's definitely frustrated. You can see in the body language of the car the way he's putting it in places that he's trying to just give himself enough of a run.
Josh, of course, using his experience. This is Kyffin's first season in Formula Regional Americas, and Josh, of course, competed. Oh, that was close between Choksey and Cusson. Choksey holding on to that position, but Cusson had the nose of that car just about chopped off by his teammate. And there's Jordan Missig right behind him. That's a great three-way battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Ooh, mistake there by the 19, and bang comes Cusson. Now he'll sit behind him, but he's got the drive here, surely. When you make a mistake like that at Oak Tree, you lose drive, and he's definitely got a chance down that back straight.
The most important turn on any racetrack is the one leading on to the longest straightaway, and that's the case at Oak Tree, and you can see that has really opened the door. Now we've got a bid for second, as it looks like Kyffin Simpson is making a lunge there on Josh Carr. I think Josh has been able to hold him off. He has. But
this is good.
Oh yeah, Simpson is wanting to put this championship to rest right here, right now. I think he knows the math just as well as the rest of us does, and if he can find his way around Josh, or God forbid, if something were to befall Ernie Francis, like I say, all he has to do is finish second or better.
I mean,
and the championship is his.
People might look at this and go, why risk everything? You've got the championship, you're that far away. But the truth is, like you say, why give Josh another chance at another track on another day in any weather where you don't even know might happen? There's a lot can go, the pressure can build. Get it done as soon as you can, then you can go unfettered to Dakota. So I get why he's pushing so hard.
Kudos to our guest commentator, Jordan Missig, as he has found his way around Logan Cusson to work his way up into the top 5. But that battle for second is a dandy, and you consider the championship ramifications. They're second and first in the championship running together, and if they swap orders, it's done. And Josh knows that just as well as Kyffin does.
I am in gobsmacked by the way Ernie Francis Jr. is driving, and I'm now convinced of his future potential to be in any car anywhere around the world, because when he started this campaign, a lot of us in Trans Am were like, I hope it goes well for Ernie because we all love him so much. But he had no karting experience. He had no single-seater experience. He'd never really driven in anger in any form of single-seater or kart, whereas all these guys are the very best from around the world and have been doing it since they were 4. Ernie hasn't had that. He hasn't had that silver spoon of money to go and do that. And, so we were worried for him, and we didn't want him to be embarrassed because he's a great 7-time champion in our series. But look at him go. This is really, really impressive. Josh Carr sideways then.
And there's the pass that may settle the championship right there. Kyffin Simpson has found a way around Joshua Carr, and now all he has to do is maintain that position. Josh looks to be a little squirrelier. I think that maybe the tires are beginning to go away. And he's just not able to maintain that same pace. In fact, here comes the 19 right behind him. Varun Choksey is going to try to make a move on Josh Carr as well, and he gets that done. Josh is not going the right direction. There's Jordan Missig right behind them. Excuse me, that's Logan Cusson right behind them to try to move up as well.
And you might, in the last 30 seconds, have seen the whole championship won and lost.
Absolutely. And again, the results we're giving you and the prognostications we're giving you are unofficial.
Of course.
But assuming that that nothing untoward happens in the steward's room, this could well be the clinching event of this championship, as Josh Carr has gone from second all the way back to 4th.
Wow, I want to go to Japan and watch Kyffin race if that's the case.
Absolutely. Yeah, this kid has got a bright future ahead of him, no question. And you were talking about Ernie Francis. I don't want to take anything away from him as we've been talking about the championship ramifications of this battle for second. But you talk about Ernie Francis, and he's won the Trans Am Championship 7 times. Where's up? For Ernie from here. And he's still a very young man. He's still got lots of good years of racing left to him. Maybe he does make the switch over to open wheel. That would be a great story.
Well, it was interesting because I tried to get something from his mentor, Little Al, this morning, and he said, well, I said, where's he going to go? He could go NASCAR, he could go Indy, and he said, well, you know how much I love the Indy 500? Basically hinting, in my mind, Indy Lights. And my prognostication on that is, why not go Indy Lights? It doesn't matter, and if he makes it to Indy, great. And even if he makes it to Indy, he can still go to NASCAR because he'd be 26, 27. If he wants, or 37 for all that matters. So the line is really there. And if you get a chance to run the 500, you've got someone like Al Jr. in your back pocket who knows Penske, who's raced for Penske, who's raced for,
Pat Patrick.
You name it. I mean, there's nobody that's not going to open the door and let you in the motorhome and talk about your new protege.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Kyffin Simpson has just set the fast lap of the race, a 45.7. He's in clear air now after finally getting up into that second spot. I don't think he has anything for Ernie Francis with 11 minutes left, but as you can see, the rest of the field has begun to fall off the pace. Varun Choksey now on the podium in third. Josh Carr fourth. Jordan Missig fifth. Logan Cusson sixth. Ryan Yardley, unfortunately, going the wrong direction in this one. He's back in seventh right now. Arias Deukmedjian, who started from the pit lane, up to eighth. Baptiste Berthelot after that spin in ninth. Cooper Becklin in 10th. Those drivers will score points on this one, as Ernie Francis Jr. and Kyffin Simpson all in a class pretty much by themselves.
And there is Little Al.
Yep, starting with Varun Choksey in third spot. The rest of the field pretty closely matched, but the two drivers out in front are definitely in a class of their own on this day at least. 10 minutes remaining in the race, 10 and a half, just about. You can see that battle for fourth is a good one. At the moment, at least, the three podium positions seem to be pretty well in hand. As there goes Logan Cusson trying to make a move on Jordan Missig, but not quite able to close the deal. So Missig right behind Josh Carr now in fifth spot. Simpson resets another fast lap, 45.5 from second place. The interval between he and Ernie Francis, just about a second and a half. Ryan Yardley, after that bit of agricultural racing up in the climbing S's, has climbed back into contention now in seventh spot, as he's right at the back of this battle between Josh Carr and Jordan Missig. Logan Cusson, Ryan Yardley right at the tail end of it. Varun Choksey is pretty solidly now in third, as he's opened up about a second and a half over Josh Carr. There's Simpson in the front of your screen. There's
and
Choksey.
Simpson is taking some time out of Ernie at the moment. He was, what, 3/10 quicker, the gap 1.8 seconds, and, well, 9 minutes to go.
Yep.
If he pushes on, you know, he could challenge for the win. And any real champion is of a mindset to win every race. There's no question about it. And I think the minute you stop thinking that, it's like playing a musical instrument.
Yep.
The minute you stop thinking about what you're actually doing and your mind wanders is when you make mistakes and when
Sure.
it all goes horribly wrong.
Yep, absolutely right. And, you know, Kyffin, as we said, started out so dominantly, winning 5 of the first 6 races, and hasn't had a win since.
Yes, good point.
Since Road America, he's not been on the top step of the podium, but he's done what he needed to do. Third, second, fourth, and fifth in the races since. And he's done what he's needed to do to keep that championship alive. And now it's come good.
This is great. Look at this.
Yeah. Josh Carr, Jordan Missig, Logan Cusson, all locked together just outside the top 3. Love to see this kind of racing. These drivers just really going at it. They've got worn tires. You know, they're having to deal with a race car that's maybe not at its peak handling because the rubber's got a little bit of mileage on it.
And it's light now.
Yep, and they're all going for it. Jordan Missig trying to make that outside move. That's a very popular passing move at the horseshoe because it sets you up for the next turn, the NASCAR turn, which of course is a left-hander. Not quite alongside enough to make that happen.
Plenty of room on the exit of NASCAR, though.
Yeah,
this is where it tightens up a
Oh,
left
look,
hook.
there's Cusson making a dive.
Cusson, nicely made by the Canuck.
Yep. Dives down inside Jordan Missig there at the left hook. I think he caught Jordan by surprise.
I think he did.
Yeah. That's not a place where you frequently see passes, but he just took his foot off the brake pedal, if you will. Ryan Yardley there.
Done a good job of catching up, hasn't he?
Yeah, recovering from his off. He fell all the way back to, what was it, 8th position. He's running 7th right now, but closing quickly on this great battle.
If they keep battling like this, it'll give Ryan a chance to catch up. 7 minutes to go. We've got a great 4-way battle now down on the back straight. Can anybody get a slipstream?
If anything, Missig went just a little bit wide. Josh Carr is trying to break the draft, going off to driver's left, not giving them a great opportunity to tuck right on his rear wing and take advantage of the slipstream. You can see out in front of that battle is Varun Choksey running pretty much all by himself. He's 5 seconds back of our champion-elect, Kyffin Simpson, but he's almost 2 seconds in front of this battle. And Ryan Yardley right at the tail end of it now. With 6.5 minutes left to go. I don't think we've heard the last of the Kiwi.
No. I know Ryan well, and he's a fighter for sure. His dad races, his sister races. And, yeah, it's a family affair. I got a text message from Malcolm, his dad, asking whether I was here this weekend because Ryan was racing. And I said, of course, your boy's going good.
absolutely. There's
Whoa.
a little bit of a slip from Cusson, and that's
Yeah.
going to let Missig back by. So Cusson overcooked it into the horseshoe, and Jordan Missig says, thank you very much. I'll take that position right back.
And Yardley senses an opportunity as well.
Yeah, look at Missig's car, though, getting a little squirrely under the power as he comes off of NASCAR. These guys are really struggling with worn tires at this point and really having to adjust their driving style to accommodate what those Hankook slicks will give them.
Well, that was a great move by Cusson. He really has taken advantage. As we go back with Simpson now, our potential champion to be, and look how close he is now to Ernie Francis Jr. Does he want the win? I think I know the answer, John.
Absolutely. With 5.5 minutes left, it is on. Just as it looked like Ernie Francis was going to drive off into the sunset, Kyffin Simpson has run him down.
And the irony is, last lap for Ernie was his fastest, a 45.8. So it's not like he slowed down, but then again, a 45.3 from Simpson. So that's why we've got the battle that we have.
Yeah, Simpson's best lap is better than Francis's best lap.
Yeah.
And they are now in close formation as they come down the hill, down the roller coaster, and into Hog Pen. So named because there was a hog pen at the outside of that turn back in the day.
Did he watch the racing or not?
I'm sure they did, you know. Pigs are very intelligent.
Yes, they are, yeah.
They enjoy a good motor race just as much as the rest of us.
Let's take a look at the overtake for the lead and what was a significant overtake.
There you see Cusson going a little wide, getting a little too much brake pressure.
Yeah.
And that opened the door for Jordan Missig to retake that spot that he lost just a couple laps ago. But good job for Cusson to keep it on the black part. He didn't completely get off into the grass and only lost a single spot. He could have lost another one as Ryan Yardley was right there to pounce. Here comes the battle for the lead. We're getting down to the final 4 minutes of this one. Ernie Francis, I think, feeling the pressure from Kyffin Simpson, maybe has picked his pace up just a touch. Trying to hold the champion-elect at bay. Ernie would love nothing more than to get win number 3 here at VIR. Maybe a bit of a consolation prize for his disappointment in the Trans Am race earlier today. Right now, they're very evenly matched. Again, last lap's Ernie's was a 46 flat. Kyffin was a 45.5. He was about half a second quicker. So with 3.5 minutes left, probably 2 more laps at the rate they're running now. Into the roller coaster, so named because right there, it's very steeply downhill. The TV camera, as you so often see, doesn't do the angle of that justice. And they continue the plunge downhill to right here into the hog pen turn, which leads them onto this curving front straightaway. It's not a straightaway per se. There's a little dog leg right about there, but it's easy flat. It's not a turn in that respect. And then coming down into.
Tell you what, this is a really interesting battle because any lesser driver, I would say, would tank now and would fall to the pressure of the champion behind him, but not Ernie Francis Jr. And I think Kyffin was probably aware of that. He knows how experienced Ernie is, and Ernie's used to racing under pressure situations like that. He does it day in, day out with Chris Dyson in Trans Am and Tommy Dreesy and Adam Andretti as we look at the JT Motorsport team. Oh no, disaster. What's happened here?
A couple cars off. We're at turn 5, it looks like. That's just at the entrance to the Snake. And we've got 2 cars off.
The Snake has just bit.
Yeah, I'm just guessing, but I think.
Nasty.
I'm just listening to race control. He is
Okay,
going to try to stay green all the way to the end here.
Well, that's good. That's going to be hard, though, surely.
We'll have to sort it out as they come by the line because it's hard to tell from this angle who that is. I have a feeling that might be Jordan Missig up against the tire barrier there, but that's just conjecture from what I can see from this angle. It's hard to tell from the drone shot.
2 dark-colored cars, so it's not Yardley, I don't think.
Yeah.
Ooh, looking from above. Now, there's the leaders.
They're coming to the white flag this time by. So there'll be 1 more lap after this. Of course, there'll be a waving yellow flag at the scene of the incident. But the race director trusting these drivers to do the right thing as they approach that point.
Yeah, that's good. That's healthy. Yes, they're in a precarious position. But white flag is out in our third race here at VIR as Ernie Francis Jr. looking for his second win, and the current 2021 champion-elect about to pick up the championship in second place. Wants to win it, of course, but, well, I think he might just stay stationed for now. Or won't have the opportunity, I should say.
Yeah, approaching the scene of the incident.
Yeah.
There's the TJ Speed Brain Trust down in the paddock watching their driver perhaps clinch the championship here in the next half a lap or so.
You could see that their furrowed brows tell you everything you need to know.
Yep, he's still got to get across the line to make it official. But Ernie Francis Jr. looking for his second win on the weekend, his third on the season. And again, I cannot overstress how impressed this young man has been, considering the fact that he has zero open wheel experience. Then to step into this very sophisticated race car and to get to grips with it and win a race in his 9th outing in that car is a testament to just how pure a racer Ernie Francis is. And I don't want to take anything away from Kyffin Simpson and the great season he has had, but Ernie Francis Jr. is the real deal, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he really is. And you've got two great stars of the future on your screens right now. One is about to win the FR Americas Championship and head to the heady heights of Japan as a Honda Scholarship recipient. The other potentially could go to NASCAR or Indy, but that is the true story of what this championship has created. Truly the stars of the future, and the future star, racing star, Ernie Francis Jr. is going to do it.
Here he comes to the checkered flag to make it official. Win number 3 for Ernie Francis Jr. and a clinch of the championship for Kyffin Simpson. He will be the 2021 Formula Regional Americas champion.
It's almost quiet relief rather than elation, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely right. Johnny, I'm going to get down to the podium to talk to those drivers, so I'll turn it over to you for the final bit. Looks like Josh Carr is going to hang on to that 4th spot as Varun Choksey came by in the 3rd position.
Thanks, John. Yep, head down there and we'll try to finish this off and find out what happened in that incident as well. We'll try and get a replay to you, but there's no doubting the winner, Ernie Francis Jr., back-to-back wins. It doesn't get any better. Congratulations to Kyffin Simpson. So that race had everything. Good, clean racing throughout. Let's take a look at the highlights. The highlights of race 3 saw Ernie Francis Jr. pounce into the lead at the start. Josh Carr taken unawares, could do nothing about it. The car would keep him honest in the early stages. In 3rd place, the mighty Ryan Yardley in the 78. Back to racing for Crosslink Kiwi Motorsport. And also in the action, Kyffin Simpson just behind. Logan Cusson starting to catch up. Made that move, almost getting it wrong, and Arias Deukmedjian making a big mistake. Yardley made Kiwis fly for a moment, but held it all together. But there was no stopping Ernie Francis Jr. He really was in the zone. Josh Carr trying to keep it steady. Kyffin Simpson put the pressure on at the end, but pressure is Ernie Francis' middle name, and he wins back-to-back here in FR Americas. What a wonderful day, what a wonderful racetrack. It really doesn't get any better. Confirmation then of the results. Ernie Francis Jr., the future star racing, is not a future star. He is a star of the here and now. Kyffin Simpson, our new champion, and TJ Speed Motorsports. What a way to start their first season. And how about this? Varun Choksey takes him, follows him home for his teammate. Joshua Carr finishes in 4th position, just behind him Ryan Yardley. So Australia versus New Zealand as it should be, and great stuff. Arias Deukmedjian coming in for the Hunter Yaney, who should have been in Sochi this weekend, but Arias finishing 6th. Baptiste Berthelot of France 7th. Cooper Becklin in 8th position. Good start for his Kiwi crosslink relationship. Nick Persing in 9th and Kevin Janzen in 10th. Further down, Jordan Missig had a good run, but sadly it wasn't to be. And I think it was Jordan in Logan Cusson involved in that situation. Dylan Tavella had problems coming in earlier. So, plenty of great action to talk about in that one, and they're coming into Parc Ferme, and we're going to get some nice celebrations. It's a great way for Ernie to finish his weekend after what has been, well, it's had some big highs and some big lows, but the highs will definitely outweigh, because that was a virtuoso performance by a man who just stepped into single-seaters this season, folks. Just 22.5 years of age, from Florida. He's done it all, 7-time a Trans Am muscle car champion, and now a rising star of single-seaters. And he, fresh as a daisy as he jumps out, and you can see there is a different demeanor from the one that got out of the Trans Am car about an hour ago. Happy for him, really happy for him. We'll hear from him in a moment. Off comes the helmet, and in a moment John Kyffin will have a word. I think Ernie's about to get his hat, and when he does, he'll talk to John. Let's go down to John Kyffin, as Alan Jr., not a bad guy to greet you first off, is with John Kyffin.
Ernie, I know there was a disappointment earlier today when you were challenging for the win in Trans Am, but this is your second win of the weekend in the Formula Regional Americas car, your third of the season. Again, you've got to be pleased.
Yeah, super happy with this. It's great to end the weekend on a high note here. You know, to get a win yesterday in the second race, and then back it up with another win today. Really happy with that. Glad this one was able to end under green. Felt like we really earned this one. Stayed out front the entire time, led the whole thing. Really had the car to beat, it felt like, out there, and just tried to hit my marks in the end, and just not make a mistake. That was the plan out there. But just have to say thanks to everyone from Future Star Racing, Wings and Wheels, Mark and Laura McAllister for this opportunity this year. This has been unbelievable, going from never driven open wheel car now to having 3 wins in the season. Pretty happy with that, and looking forward to the next one.
Got to ask you, are we going to see you next year?
Yeah, hopefully so. I think we'll be back out here, maybe give it a full season run for a championship. We'll see what happens.
Awesome. Ernie Francis Jr., your winner. We're going to keep it right here as he congratulates Kyffin Simpson.
Right there.
Let's turn our attention to our champion-elect, Kyffin. I don't know if you're aware of that, but if by finishing second, again, it's not yet official because the stewards have to have a look at the race, but I believe you are the 2021 champion of the Formula Regional Americas.
I was not aware of that, but that's exciting to hear. We were pushing this weekend for a good points weekend, and I knew Joshua was quick here because of last year. He did really good here, and I was just hoping I'd be able to minimize points loss here, but instead we were able to potentially come home with the championship.
Anybody you'd like to thank, I have to ask.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the whole TJ Speed team, God for helping me through this whole season, and my family, all my sponsors, of course, and this series for just putting on a great season so far.
Congratulations. We'll see you on the podium.
Thank you.
Your new champion, Kyffin Simpson, and now 3-time winner, Ernie Francis Jr. Johnny, back to you.